Hey everyone, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite movies. And last night I decided to watch No Country for Old Men, directed by Ethan and Joel Cohen, and adapted from a novel of the same name by Cormac McCarthy. So, yeah, wow, No Country for Old Men. The reason why I suddenly watched this out of nowhere is because I realized I haven't watched enough classic movies or movies that are really well known and well recognized to be great movies. I'll just start it off with this one, No Country for Old Men, and it is an incredibly dark, grim, and intense movie about death, fate. Essentially, the plot is basically we have Josh Brolin's character, Llewellyn Moss. Llewellyn Moss stumbled upon a bunch of dead bodies in the middle of the desert. Apparently, it's the result of a Mexican standoff after a trade gone wrong, a cartel trade gone wrong. So he took the money, and because he took the money, somebody's after him. And that somebody is the one and only Anton Chigurh, who is a very calculated, very cold blooded, very inhuman person who has rules, principles that he follows, yet he kills anyone he wants to, even innocent people. And he does it in a way that's so clean and so fast and so emotionless and apathetic. He is barely human, and he relies on so much on chance. There was one magnificent scene towards the beginning of the film where Anton Chigurh just walks up to the cashier or the owner of a store in the middle of the desert, and he flipped a coin and said, "Call it." And the store owner was like, "What? Why? Like, what's in it for me? What am I calling it for?" And Anton was like, "Call it. Just call it." And that scene was suspenseful as hell. The building of the tension is magnificent, even though it has pretty much nothing to do with the plot. But it serves as an amazing intro scene for Anton Chigurh. Um, yeah, this movie is also pretty special in that it has no score, and I've certainly seen a couple movies where there are literally no music, like Roma by Alfonso Cuarón, but this one as well. But I think the decision to not have an original score in this movie is a really good decision because this movie is kind of depressing and kind of grim. And the fact that there is no score put an emphasis on the silence of the background. And there are actually many, many scenes in this movie where we can hear the winds blowing in the back. And I feel like it almost adds to the theme of this movie, which is fate, chance, uncertainty, that is death. It's also important to notice the very beautiful cinematography of this movie done by the one and only, the legendary Roger Deakins. And of course, I have to get the obvious out of the way. The performances, absolutely brilliant. Everybody in this movie gave their career best performance. I mean, even the friggin' side characters, everyone gave their very, very best. Josh Brolin is amazing as Llewellyn Moss. There's something up with Llewellyn Moss. Normally, if you run into a group of dead bodies, you would freak out. I would freak out. I would be shocked. But Llewellyn Moss was kind of, well, not saying he's cold-blooded, but he's really calm and steady about it. And he seems really resourceful and smart about things. And it turns out that Llewellyn Moss has experience in this because he was in Nam, he was in the Vietnam War. And of course, we have Anton Chigurh, played by Javier Bardem, which is one of the best performances of the 2000s, in my opinion. Oh my god. He, as Anton Chigurh, is chilling, it's menacing. His haircut in the movie is so twisted and wicked and creepy. It's horrifying, and his really inhuman emotions, very pure and simple, yet horrifying. It's really scary. Of course, we also have Tommy Lee Jones as Sheriff Ed Tom Bell, who also gives a pretty good performance. Same goes for Woody Harrelson, who plays a side character named Carson Wells. This movie, if you go into this movie thinking that it's going to be super fast paced and action packed and intense, you're gonna be disappointed because it's mid paced. I wouldn't say it's slow paced, it's still pretty mid paced in my opinion. But the pace works perfectly well for the movie because, again, we're not going into this movie like it's some crazy action thriller, some crazy crime thriller or something. This movie is way more subtle and nuanced in the way it expresses its themes and symbolisms. There are many, many scenes in this movie which I absolutely love. Again, the coin toss scene earlier in the movie. The motel scene is extremely suspenseful, but as if it's not suspenseful enough, we have the hotel scene. And at that point, the movie isn't even 2/3 way done. We're not even near the end of the movie yet. There's a scene this intense, this suspenseful, this fast. Holy crap! I didn't see this scene coming, and it played out in a way it totally subverts my expectations. There are also many scenes in the last act of the movie that subverts my expectations, but I guess I have to go into spoilers for this. So, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this movie, go to the description, there's a timestamp, tap on it or click on it, skip to the end, but I'm going to enter spoilers territory now. So first of all, Carson Wells, played by Woody Harrelson. When he entered the movie, he seems like he's the only guy who knows what he's talking about. He seems like the only dude who knows who is Anton Chigurh and how to deal with him. He seems like a really resourceful and smart guy as well. Nope, he just dies. He just dies. And that scene, though, where Woody Harrelson gives an amazing performance because you can really see the cold fear in him when he's sitting across Anton Chigurh in his hotel room. And on the previous scene, he told Llewellyn Moss, you can't make deals with Chigurh. You can't make deals with him. He's going to kill you no matter what. And then on that scene, when Carson Wells gets killed, he actually tried to make a deal because he ran out of options, and you can tell, he doesn't want to act like like a pussy and be like, please don't kill me, please, because at that point he already knew that that's it, his life, it's gone, that's it for him, and he's just like, he still tries his best. You don't have to do this. I can give you the money. I know where the sachet is. And at the end, he's like, he just gave up. You go to hell. And he just dies. And that scene, though, that telephone ring, because it's so silent, it's so intense, that phone ring interrupts the scene. And that is the defining moment. And it's shocking. And then immediately afterwards, Chigurh just shoots him like it's nothing. It just came out of nowhere. And that's it. And that's a fantastic scene. I also like, again, he seems like someone who knows what he's talking about, and then he immediately gets killed. And that is, surprising. Even more surprising is Llewellyn Moss's death. He himself, the protagonist himself, had died. And it's even off screen. It's not even like a final showdown between him and Anton Chigurh. He just gets into a hotel and gets killed by a bunch of Mexican cartel. That is it. And usually when the protagonist of a movie gets killed off screen, it would be very anticlimactic and I would hate it. But in this movie, in the context of this movie, I actually appreciate and admire this decision because it just goes to show that At the end of the day, Llewellyn Moss is not the protagonist. There is no protagonist. Everyone is living their own lives. Everyone is leading their own lives, making their own decisions. It just happens that we are following Llewellyn Moss's perspective for a bulk of the movie, but he is not the protagonist of the world. So, at the end of the day, he will die unexpectedly because that is the world. That is how the world works. That is fate. That is chance. It just happens, and that's what that scene sort of symbolized for me, anyways. The movie also ended quite ambiguously. We have a scene where Anton Chigurh goes to Llewellyn Moss's wife's house and kills her. In the book, he did kill her, but in the movie, it's not shown. And it's like blank because we didn't see him kill her. So to us, it's almost like a 50-50 chance. She's either dead or she's alive. And in a sense, that scene sort of shows how cold-blooded Chigurh is, because to him it's just another day. It doesn't even matter if she's dead or alive. Chigurh just did his thing. But in another sense, it's kind of apparent that Chigurh actually did kill her because she refused to call it when he flipped a coin, and she's like, I'm not gonna call it. The coin have no say. You have the say. So if you don't play the game, then he has to kind of kill you. That's kind of how it goes. So there is that, and afterwards we have a car crash, which is again a really good decision made by the writer. I think I mean, he didn't die. Chigurh didn't die from the car crash, but again, the car crash came out of nowhere. He wasn't like killed or anything. It's just chance. It's just fate doing its own thing. And he's not even all that mad or upset after the car crash. He knows that that's the rule of the game. There is no rule. It's all by chance. And he just kind of accepted it. And the real ending of the movie, the last scene, is where Sheriff Ed Tom Bell recalls his two dreams to his wife very peacefully and really calmly. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, touching ending for the movie. It's kind of abstract, but there's a certain symbolism in those two dreams that kind of works as almost an epilogue for the movie, for the story, where again it feeds into the theme of death, where death is uncertain. Death is by chance. You never know when are you going to die out of nowhere. One day you wake up, you walk down the street, you die in a car crash. Or maybe someone will kill you by accident. I don't know. But something's gonna happen. You may get a heart attack out of nowhere. You may suddenly get cancer. And you just kind of have no say on it. Some people actually believe that Anton Chigurh is like an embodiment of death in this movie, and I think it's a pretty compelling argument. But I don't know. Whatever the case may be, I think it's a friggin' great film. So yeah, No Country for Old Men. It's a really really fantastic movie. A lot of great scenes, a lot of great symbolisms here and there. Amazing, masterfully directed. I reviewed Blood Simple a while ago, I think a month ago, and Blood Simple is the debut film of the Coen brothers, and even though No Country for Old Men is adapted from a novel, it doesn't seem all that out of place from the Coen brothers style, because again, it is Southern American death and murder, and it's a mess. But this one is way darker, way grimmer, and way more artistic, like leagues ahead of Blood Simple. And it's amazing to see how far the Coen brothers had come after over 2 decades to make something this masterful and artistic. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. No Country for Old Men, great film. I am giving it a strong 9 out of 10. I really want to give it a 10. Really, really want to. In fact, I enjoyed this movie so much so that I would like to give it a 10, But I kind of want to reserve it because I have a sneaky feeling that it can get better, but I don't know how because I pretty much love everything about this movie. But I'm just gonna give it a strong, 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 strong 9, as strong as possible. So, have you watched No Country for Old Men? From 1 to 10, how much did you rate it? Like if you like it and subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching. I'm gonna watch 2 more classic movies. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but I'm gonna watch it and review it within January.